Let's talk about a concept in golf that I believe, if you can grasp, will really help you get better much faster than if you don't. We hear this phrase a lot. We hear it referenced. No one really explains it to us, and most people have no idea what it represents. The term is planes of motion. I want you to realize that in order to be a good player, we're striving to create samenesses. I'm striving for sameness of motion. I'm trying to do the same thing every single time I swing a golf club. In order to achieve those samenesses, I have to understand that I'm going to be presented with variations, the most notable of which are my planes of motion. Each club has its own unique plane of motion because each club has its own unique length and lie angle. The length and lie angle of the club dictates my posture and therefore dictates my pivot's plane of motion. By this I mean, when I hold a 5-iron, this 5-iron tells me to be this far from the ball. My radius of my left arm and my club shaft measure me to the ball. The lie angle of the club told me that I have to tilt over this much from the waist, therefore putting my spine at this angle. This 5-iron just told me that this is my plane of motion with a 5-iron. However, at the bottom end of my set, with a sand wedge, a shorter shaft, a more vertical lie angle, this sand wedge just told me I have to be closer to this ball and tilt over more. Therefore, I have a more vertical plane of motion. Now, if I go to the top end of my set with a driver, this is my longest, flattest club. This club told me to be this far from the ball, and I don't need to tilt much from the waist. So I have a more horizontal plane of motion. Understanding these variations can allow me to more easily create samenesses. I can move myself in the same way if I realize that a driver swings more around me and feels, quote, flatter than a sand wedge that tilts me more from the waist and creates a more vertical plane of motion and feels more, quote, upright.